Rachel has been stand in between our home and the tank, which has been around 200 meter far and open land, and she was holding a mega phone, talking wear orange vest. She was talking to the tank driver, telling him stop, there is a children inside the home.
وقتها ما تخيلت انه يصير هيك حادث. كانت الجرافة عم بتقرب عليها، زاحت كومة الرمل واجت فوقيها ورجعت الجرافة تاني. للأسف كان جسمها أبسط وأنحف من انه يكون جرافة مثل هيك تيجي فوق جسمها يعني.
At that time the driver of the bulldozer didn't stop and to continue moving toward her. We didn't imagine that any human being can continue by this way. He pushed the sand on her and squeeze her by his fork.
وقتها أنا
I didn't never expect that happened or she can survive from this fatal injuries.
وقتها طلعت أنا فوق بيتي أجيب لها ضمادات للجروح. ما تخيلت إنه ممكن يكون إصابتها خطيرة. وقتها طلع سلفي يشوفها، شالوا عنها شوية الرمل، بس للأسف قال حالتها خطيرة. ترجم.
At that time I ran to my home to bring the first aid to help Rachel. I think it is not injured, and I didn't never try to think she will die. So I bring the first aid to my brother, wife, husband, brother, Dr. Samir, and he go to help her, but it was very bad injury for her.
يمكن أنا شفتها ومشيلها الحمالة، كانت كتير حالتها صعبة. ما تتخيل شو كان شكلها، كان كتير صعب. ما تخيلت إنه ممكن يكون في إنسان ممكن يعمل هيك، يموت إنسان بهيك طريقة.
Last time I saw Rachel when the ambulance came, and I saw her in the stretcher lying with her blood. This moment for very hard to me, and I never forget her.
Yeah.
Sama Nasrallah describing what happened on that day through her husband Khalid Nasrallah on March 16th, when Cindy Corey's daughter, Rachel Corey, was killed in Gaza, in Rafah. Cindy Corey, how do you listen to this description now on this speaking tour over and over again? Have you learned anything new about your daughter's last moments?
I've heard this story in so many ways from so many people. Sometimes on the speaking tour, we actually don't go into the details of it all because sometimes it is hard to hear it over and over again. I think I didn't know about Sama, though, watching and then going to get the first aid kit, and her feeling that somehow Rachel was going to survive. That's all new information to me, and I think too, even in our family, I didn't have the sense, the understanding that now I do about the fact that all of the children, the Nasrallah children, were behind that wall. They had come downstairs when the bulldozers appeared, the ones who were upstairs, because they didn't know what was going to happen. And so Rachel knew those children were behind the wall. 5 young children at the time. There are now 6 children, but there were 5 at the time. And of course the adults as well. I think maybe that's the point that has been made even more clear to me, that of course, Rachel had to take that stand. She couldn't have moved out of the way. She knew her friends were behind that wall.
And so what are you doing now, Cindy Corey? You have filed lawsuits against the company that made the bulldozer Caterpillar, against the Israeli government. What is your campaign at this point?
Well, we're doing a number of different things. We're still working with the U.S. government to try to get a U.S. investigation. My husband Craig, my daughter Sarah, and other members of our family continue to make trips to Washington, D.C. We are now, we have a contact in the Justice Department. We understand that they are still considering the possibility of a U.S. investigation. For a long time, we had been led to believe that that wasn't possible, but it is being considered at this time, and we're still calling for that. We know the U.S. State Department is now on record saying that the report of the investigation does not reflect an investigation of the Israeli military investigation, does not reflect an investigation that was thorough, credible, and transparent, as was promised to President Bush by Prime Minister Sharon that it would be the day after Rachel was killed. We have a letter from the Chief of Staff to Colin Powell that states that the investigation was not adequate, and also that was reinforced in testimony by Ambassador Kozak before a subcommittee of the House International Relations Committee this spring. So we feel that there's still real reason, and it's not only our family but others that believe that more needs to be done. We have filed the suit against Caterpillar Corporation. I think it's really important for people to know that Palestinian plaintiffs have been added to that lawsuit. People families have joined it who had family members that died in Jenin and also in Gaza when Caterpillar equipment was involved in the demolition of homes. And we have also a civil suit in Israel. And of course the legal process moves very slowly, so there hasn't been a lot of progress at this point, but both of those are underway. On this tour, of course, this is another dimension of the work that we're doing. We're working with the Rebuilding Alliance to bring, we brought this family here. We've been traveling since June 8th. We started on the West Coast in California, went to Oregon, to Washington, and then to the Midwest, Michigan, Wisconsin, and we're concluding in Iowa, which is Craig's and my home. We grew up here in Iowa. And it's been really heartening to me to see people come out all along the way to hear directly from the Nasrallah family. I think this story is still very important to people. It was 90 to 100 degrees in Des Moines and in Iowa City this week. Last night we were in the Islamic Center here. There was standing room only. There were fans trying to cool everybody off, and people stayed through 2 hours to hear this story. So I feel very good about getting this word out. We're also trying to raise funds to rebuild, first of all, the Nasrallah home, and then another, to have a presence in Gaza, a grassroots American presence that says to people that we know what has happened. We know that 1/10 of the population of Rafah have lost their homes during the past 5 years, and that we know we have a responsibility in that as Americans, because we funded the equipment that has done that work. We funded the Israeli military, and that is disengagement is being discussed, and as we're waiting to see how that unfolds, that we continue to stand with the people of Gaza to support them until there is truly a viable existence for the people of Gaza.
Cindy Corey is joining us in Des Moines with the Nasrallahs, whose home Rachel Corey was standing in front of, defending against a Caterpillar bulldozer operated by the Israeli military on March 16th, 2003, 3 days actually before the U.S. invasion began in Iraq. Khaled, can you talk about what happened to your home? Was it demolished on that day after Rachel was killed?
Actually, when the bulldozer have been coming to demolish our home, and Rachel by her soft body stopped the bulldozer at that time.